CURES, sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.
Helping you lead a healthier life. This is CURES.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CURES podcast, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness from credible sources. Dr. Jennifer Stagg is an integrative physician. She's also the founder and medical director of Whole Health Wellness in Farmington. She's also a mom of 3 and knows what it's like to send your kids off to college and how they keep getting sick. Mm-hmm. So she wants to help us before they go, as I'm sending my daughter off, news we can really use, how to keep their immune system strong so they don't just keep getting sick when they're off to school. So welcome, Dr. Jennifer Stagg. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like almost like when our kids started going to daycare when they were little and they get all these sicknesses. I hear from everybody, oh, this one got mono, they got strep, they're always sick. Mm-hmm. And so they have a new kind of exposure to a lot of germs.
Yeah, definitely. So you got that like sort of perfect storm happening. So you got all these, new kids coming together. They're coming from different places. We got like different germs being transmitted and viruses that they haven't been exposed to, but you also have a super like stressful situation, right?
Yeah.
Like just the process of going to college is like a change. So transition, your body perceives it as stress. But then you start layering things on like erratic eating habits and erratic sleep times and
nobody
no
does that at college.
And partying and it's pretty taxing on the nervous system.
Yeah.
And then the academic load. Like remember, right? We were talking
they're
about
there
they're
for
going
school.
there to actually learn.
So I'm really excited because if you're like me, you're probably following a lot of things on the gram about all these things we're supposed to pack for the dorm. Mm-hmm. And you have some immunity hacks. And this is for college kids preparing because essentially if we do it right, they don't have to have a series of sickness the whole time or just feeling out of sorts all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And some of these have like dual action, right? Because another thing we're dealing with beyond just like immunity and these frequent illnesses are kids that are having issues with mood and anxiety and that stress response, and that impacts their immune system as well. So you want to sort of like layer in the things that help with all of those, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've got these new stressors, sleep loss, poor diet, germs, stress, all of it. But there's practical ways. So let's start with how we're going to help them just build up a good defense. What do we send them off with, do you think?
Yeah, so a lot of these things are seemingly simple, but you need to take them consistently, first of all, like having these kids. And you don't want to overwhelm them with too many things. So some of the essentials I would think about here, first of all, would be probably just like a multi-nutrient that would help. That would have like plant-based extracts in it too, so it has the antioxidants, so it can fill in some of those nutrient gaps. Like that's like basic, right?
So you like Metagenics, and a lot of people always ask me which one. So I know that people might be going to the drugstore and just getting brands that you already know. You can get Metagenics on its website or on Amazon, but these are higher quality that doctors use.
Yeah, exactly. So this one in particular, Phyto Multi, I really like, and you really could, like college kids could take one a day on these, and you're going to get all those sort of minerals, vitamins, all those basics, and then you're going to get like a superfood extract in there. So that's kind of like just like, let's get the foundations covered. And
so, because after they go to the bars, they're not generally ordering a salad. Yeah, so that's going to help fill in the balance. And then also a probiotic for gut health.
Yeah, so that's a huge one. So probiotics, we think about it, gut health is a big coverage there. But probiotics, we know that our microbiome is really important for our immune system. So there are really great studies on probiotics actually reducing the incidence of colds and flus. We have these studies in kids. And then also the other aspect of it is it like reduces the severity of symptoms if they were to get them. So, and that data is really clear. Very interesting is that probiotics also help with that stress response. So,
they do?
Yeah. So probiotics, now we know.
It's
like,
not just your digestion.
Gut-brain connection, right? So when kids are under that, in this stressful environment, they've got like, high stress test periods, these final exams. There's actually research showing that kids that take probiotics in college have lower stress levels during final exam periods.
Again, this is Metagenics. They make something called Ultraflora Balance. This would be for either our sons or daughters?
Absolutely. So this is a really good, high-quality probiotic that has 2 of the really keystone strain-identified species out there. So you do want to, like, we talk about this all the time about quality. It does matter here, especially with probiotics, that you have something you can rely on and is research-backed.
And in my perspective, because I have switched over to better brands, they're not overwhelmingly expensive. But also, if you are going to spend money, probiotics is one area where if you buy something that is where the cultures aren't alive, you're just wasting your money.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So then that's just like you're just throwing your money away completely.
So better get something that's tested.
I remember like when I was a medical student, our research institute actually did a study on over-the-counter, just a small study, and went and got a bunch of over-the-counter probiotics. And only one of them or 2 of them met the label claim, and the others had like no bacteria in them. They didn't have the right amounts, and some of them actually had pathogenic strains, like had E. coli in them.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Yep.
So be careful. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about mood, I think this is so important. Our kids are always, we talk about this on CURES Cures all the time. Kids are really struggling with anxiety, with mood. I can only imagine that gets tougher once you go off to college. So we want to do the right things as far as learning how to process emotions. But when it comes to supplements, there are things that can really help you have a more balanced mood.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this comes into sort of some of these foundations that overlap here now in terms of the effects that they're going to have. So omega-3s are, again, like very well understood that they support mood, and they also support your immune system. And we've got that nice crossover effect where it actually lowers cortisol levels too.
I didn't know that. So I know omega-3s are considered brain food. And for those watching at home, it's fish oil.
Yeah, exactly.
Fish oil.
Yes, fish oil.
So this is your own private label, Whole Health. You also, if you're going to go, again, this is really important that you not just buy any kind because they could have mercury, they could have bad things in it.
Right.
You like your brand, which I know you could probably...
Yeah, this one actually is Biotics, is our brand on that one.
Biotics.
Yes,
okay.
That's another great
So if you Google omega-3s
Biotics,
that's
you're gonna
also
get their
on the
main
website. You could buy it directly from them.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is also, if you have kids who have trouble with focus, whether they're diagnosed with ADHD or they just tend to have trouble with focus and learning, which is a big important thing to have mastered at college.
Yep.
This is going to be helpful.
Very helpful, like excellent. And it's not even like really high doses that they would need to take of this type of formula. We're talking maybe 1 or 2 capsules. It depends on what's going on with that kid. And then magnesium probably I would add on in this sort of situation too. And that's one of the key things I think about for mood and for stress reduction, helping them to sleep. That's another big problem that you start running into with college age students, that they start like having insomnia and they'd never even dealt with that before, and that can be a common thing that I'm seeing with these
so this is Neuromag, but this is a type of magnesium. Again, if you just go to the regular drugstore, it might be magnesium oxide or citrate, not quite the same. You want to get magnesium glycinate or
if we're really
threonate.
So there's this form. It's not necessarily the elemental magnesium dosage that matters as much here. It's what we call the chelate, right? So this is what the magnesium is bound to. So that's what you're talking about with like oxide. That doesn't really get absorbed very well. But if you're taking something like a magnesium glycinate or threonate, this one's threonate, then that actually gets into the brain more effectively. So you don't even need really high doses of magnesium. And if you're taking really high dose of magnesium, then that can upset the bowel and cause loose stools and things like that. But this is excellent for stress reduction, for sleep, and for focus. So it's worth, like, if you have a kid who really needs that support on that level, it maybe is experiencing a lot of those like challenges, that triad, I'd probably invest in the threonate version, or at least the glycinate, which is less expensive than threonate.
Okay, so this is Designs for Health, and that's a company that's local. I happen to use something it's MagMind, which I think is similar to this. So I've gotten this one, I've gotten MagMind, but you want to get something that is third-party tested, a real...
Yes.
I mean, I know that not everyone's going to drive to Farmington and get it, but you can find Designs for Health.
Oh, yeah, you can get that online. And like Metagenics makes a version of that.
Metagenics
A lot
does
of them
as well.
are, it will say Magtein on the label, T-E-I-N.
T-I-N,
And
okay.
then,
T-I-N-E, okay.
yeah, so that's, all of them are basically coming from the same supplier when it says Magtein.
Okay.
And that's where they're getting.
And that's where this magnesium is going to be better for anxiety, sleep. I have known such a difference since I started taking this. I think I told you, I'm like, is this normal that I fell asleep and I couldn't wake up till like 10 a.m.? You said that's not usual, but I mean, I was like, whoa, that really made me sleep. So I don't know. But it was, I mean, it's not a groggy thing. I think I was actually really tired that day. But this has made a big difference in my sleep even. So it's good for moms too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is really great. Like, I know we're talking about college, but perimenopause, menopause, if you're choosing a magnesium, and like if you're dabbling with magnesium, you're like, I don't know if it helps or not, try 3 and 8 and see if it doesn't.
Yes, that's the cruel thing of nature, is that your kids go to college and you go through perimenopause or menopause at the same time. So no one's sleeping. Everyone's stressed.
Good time.
So
you're up waiting for messages on your phone from your college.
Yeah, you think you're going to go to bed, and you're like, okay, but now we are like, did they get home?
Are they okay?
Okay, so psychological stress, focus, cognition, all of that. So let's talk a little bit more about for focus and cognition. We're talking about, it's not that you have to take all of these, but maybe determine what are the top 3 things you want to work on. So if you're really having an issue with focus and cognition, you really suggest nootropics. We've done a whole show on that, but what would that be?
So some of the really more potent things I would think about here would be green tea. So a lot of kids then they're like heavily drink, like caffeine itself is a nootropic. It does help with focus. Green tea has more of a smoother effect and it has more of the L-theanine in there. So I find that using green tea, and of course it's like an excellent antioxidant, it's a really nice way to get that nootropic effect. So that's one thing that they could be using, and they can drink like multiple cups a day. Their caffeine levels
doesn't keep you awake like
low,
coffee, at least. I mean, in general, I haven't noticed that.
Unless you're really sensitive, right? Some people are very sensitive to caffeine, but that's a really good option instead of like drinking Red Bull. Okay.
I mean, let's just, before we move on, I've got kids asking for energy drinks and all these things, look at, brands like Celsius that look healthy or that kind of thing. What is the real truth about energy drinks from a doctor like yourself who literally is one of the only kinds of doctors schooled in holistic prevention and ingredients like this?
So the energy drinks, I like literally hate them because they're just so high in caffeine. You do not need that much caffeine to get that like brain focus effect. So a lot of these products will have 100 milligrams, 150. Some of them are verging on 200 milligrams of caffeine. Like that's a lot of caffeine in a young body that's already like sleep deprived probably. So and then it has a bunch of like junk in it as well. Like all these things are pretty junky. So like go back, just do the regular stuff. Like actually drink like some regular coffee if you need some caffeine. Drink some green tea. Like, you really don't need those like heavy energy drinks.
A lot of them are filled with B vitamins. Do we need B vitamins?
Yeah, in small amounts, but they're usually just put in there to say like there's B vitamins in here. But if you're taking like a multi, you're going to get the amount of B vitamins that you need, and the amount that you're going to get in the energy drink is not really doing anything unless you weren't taking a multi and you're filling like a little bit of a nutrient gap.
Okay. So no matter what they say, energy drinks not healthy. Okay. And I know you have an athlete who has gone on to college and he does do pre-workouts and different things, but you're really good about finding clean things for them.
So then there are sort of like clean pre-workouts, and they're going to have caffeine in there, so you really do need to like think about your overall caffeine dosage for the day and take that into account, because a lot of times kids are like they sometimes don't realize that they have caffeine in there, and their counts sometimes could be getting up where they're up 300, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is just too much.
Too much. And what's the danger of that?
Like for people with like sensitive heart rhythms, that could be a problem. Kids that, genetically, we all process caffeine at different rates. So some people are slow processors, some people are fast processors. So if you're a slow processor, that caffeine stays in your system, can cause nervousness, irritability, insomnia, and again, like heart problems.
Yes, that's definitely me. I cannot have coffee past the morning, or I love the taste of it. I'll order decaf, but it's sort of like roulette. If someone messes up, I'll be up all night long if someone gives me, So we all want to mitigate stress. Maybe you've heard about ashwagandha. This is all over TikTok, all over the feeds. There is real research that ashwagandha helps, and it could be great for college students.
Yeah, excellent. So ashwagandha is something that is an herb. It typically comes from India. There's really, good quality sourcing on a lot of those. And ashwagandha has a long history, safety profile, and it is really good for helping with just like general stress and cortisol, but it also can help with, it has this dual action. So it helps sort of like have this sort of calming anxiety effect, yet it helps with alertness. It can help with sleep. So you can dose this in the morning and in the evening and reap the benefits basically in both ways.
Okay, so it's going to help you stay more calm, but also give you energy. Sort of like what you said with green tea and the L-theanine.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you could take the ashwagandha in the morning and at night, 300 to 600 milligrams.
Yeah, those are the dosing ranges in the studies, but I would probably start on the lower end of the range and see what works for you.
Do you just buy ashwagandha, or you have
so there are blends. I didn't bring just ashwagandha. I got, Adreno Max, which is a blend that has ashwagandha. So a lot of times in herbal medicine, we blend herbs together, so then you might not even need as high a dosage. Like this one will have 100 milligrams of ashwagandha, but then it has eleutherococcus and rhodiola, a little bit of ginseng, and they're just rounding out the benefits and acting synergistically.
Okay. Something that most people have heard of is vitamin D, and that's hugely important, not only for everybody, but for college students especially.
Yeah. So that's something that I would say when I even often get asked, what's your number one supplement everyone should be taking? Probably vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually a pre-hormone, so there's receptors on every cell of your body. If we think about it in the context of college students, for women, we think, vitamin D are bones, right? That's mostly what women think about. I got to take my vitamin D, but also increasingly for mood. So the same thing carries over to college-age kids when they start getting lower levels of vitamin D as you get deeper into the fall and approaching winter, and our levels are dropping from, not getting that sun exposure. Then they can start to feel some of those seasonal affective, mild, sort of down, low energy, and obviously that will build into that sort of they're already stressed. So that's an easy enough thing to do.
Okay, and that's very reasonable. And I noticed yours has with K. Do we need vitamin D with K, and what does that mean?
Yeah, we like the vitamin K in with vitamin D because it helps. So vitamin D will help you to absorb calcium, and so then we want to direct that calcium into our storehouse, which is the bones. And when you need a little bit more calcium, in your blood, you just keep this very stable level of calcium because we'll just pull it out of our bones. That's where it gets stored. So vitamin K keeps it in there. And as we age, a concern is that we start getting calcified plaque in our arteries. So vitamin K, basically the way we think about it is keeping calcium out of our arteries and keep it in our bones.
Keep it in our bones, right. That's why they now have those scans to see calcium score.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to just give people, if you're getting a little overwhelmed, the top 3 supplements. If you're going to pack a go bag like I am of health stuff, I'm also going to pass some Advil and Band-Aids and things. What are the top 3 things we should help our college kids with immunity?
Yeah, so I would go with, if I had when I'm choosing keeping it small and potent and covering a lot of bases, I would do omega-3. So we're going to do omega-3.
Good high quality fish oil.
Probiotic and magnesium. Because they just have such broad-reaching effects, and it's going to cover a lot of things. And then
those 3 right here.
Add a little vitamin D.
Yeah, and the multi, of course. I mean, I made you say 3.
But I would do the 3 and the vitamin D.
Okay, you'd even pick vitamin D before a multi.
Probably.
Okay.
Because it's so
important. Okay.
Yeah.
And we should start maybe now before they go off if they have a week or 2 at home.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor. We'll be back with also talking about things to do to boost your immunity during that cold season or where you feel something coming on. Take a look.
Struggling with gambling? Wheeler Health's Better Choice program offers personalized support and treatment to help you regain control. Visit WheelerHealth.org to learn more and take the first step towards recovery today.
All right, we're back with CURES. We're talking about immunity for collagens. Of course, this could work for everyone else too, but we're talking about collagens specifically because they're under so much stress with not sleeping right, not eating right, and things aren't the cleanest at college.
Yes.
Let me ask you this:
hygiene.
everybody, when I went to college, you just went, but now everyone's saying we need an air purifier. Do we really need an air purifier? Does it help?
In a lot of cases, it does.
It does.
It really
okay.
makes a difference. My son lived in an off-campus house last year, and he was just like walked in there. And I probably should have done this sooner. And with the naturopathic mother, I didn't. Like, I feel bad that I didn't. But in this off-campus house, we got him like a high-quality air purifier, and so he ran it in his room, which is where he spent most of his time instead of the shared space. And it was completely different air. Like literally, they could walk in his room, and it was just like, oh my God, it's just like the air is lighter.
Yeah.
And this house had, water damage, probably had like mold spores and all sorts of disgusting stuff.
Okay. So, you as much as possible, we want to encourage our kids to try and get that sleep, to try and do those things. I know it's college. We're all probably pushed our limits, and maybe they'll learn on their own. But when it comes to that first feeling of I'm going to be sick and I'm going to be away from home, there are things that can do to kind of like nip it in the bud, right? So in Dr. Stagg's house, where you have a naturopathic mom, I mean, no one's going to get super sick super long. What do you do?
So I probably would send them with a couple of things. So first of all, like their vitamin D, if you're sending them with vitamin D, you can up the dose of that. So they can start taking like really high doses. We've talked about this. We know we did a segment on this, and there's research showing that you take 50,000 2 days in a row. Now these are like mega doses of vitamin D. That'd be a lot of pills of this one to do. But at least if they probably go up more like 10,000 or something on that level for a couple of days.
When they start to feel sick.
As soon as they start to feel sick, you start hitting that vitamin D.
So one pill is probably around 2,000.
Yeah, a lot of them are going to be 2,000.
So my daughter calls, says, I think I'm getting sick. I would say take 5 vitamin D right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you do that. Then I'd probably send them with zinc and have them do like a couple of zinc pills. So
not every day, but when you're starting to get sick.
When you're starting to feel sick. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would get some sort of herbal medicine on board. Like echinacea is a really nice one. Echinacea, if your child has been really immune challenged, if that's a big concern of yours over the focus, then I probably would even send them with a very good quality echinacea. Now that's another one I really want to emphasize quality on, because quality matters, the species, the part of the plant matters. You want to make sure you're actually getting like a good quality here.
So this one is MediHerb, but a lot of times we'll buy the purple liquids at the drugstore.
Yeah. Well, so those are elderberry.
Elderberry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
is that good too?
That's really good too.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is good.
Yeah, so even if we're
like
running to
Sambucol,
CVS, you could go get Sambucol.
Get like an organic elderberry. So then they can drink like tablespoons of that. That's another option. If they don't have anything on hand, like go if they have a Whole Foods or something like that nearby.
Okay. Ideally, we could send it to them, but that you could go find. You wouldn't have to worry about if college kid, like where am I finding MediHerb? But all right, so we could send. The other thing that you told me, I'm not sure we have it on the table, but it is. No?
Zinc. Which one?
No, the oregano oil.
Oh,
from
yes.
ADP.
Yeah, I didn't bring that. But yes, that's
huge.
fantastic.
That's like nature's antibiotic. And I know in my house, as soon as people start to get sick, I give them that oregano oil by ADP.
Yeah, so that's a biotics product, and it's a really specialized enteric-coated, like slow release form of oregano oil. And you want to high dose that. Like we're talking like 4 or 6 of those.
Right as you start to get sick.
As soon as you start to get sick, and it can really like nip it in the bud. And it has that antiviral effect, and it also is antibacterial, antifungal, but it's fantastic for like first symptoms and trying to like keep it from going any farther.
Okay. What about just tea? I mean, actually on TikTok, I see some of the college girlies are showing how they make tea at night. So it's not unheard of, people. They're drinking tea now. So I love to have tea every night. I have my nighty-night tea. But so tea could also be a daily thing that could be nice for them to do while they study, but could help.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of really good tea. So depending on what they're trying to accomplish with that. And then we have some of these like mushroom beverages, like mushroom coffee, that has more sort of that like nootropic activity. That's another option that they can mix those, like get powders of those and use those
That's
too.
also a big thing right now. People saying, you know, the mushroom coffee, which is lion's mane, you have this here, or it might have some other things. This says for memory and nerve support.
Yeah.
So this
lion's mane is probably the one with the most evidence for supporting brain function and like focus and clarity.
Can we do this if the child is already taking a stimulant, like
Definitely.
a prescription for ADHD?
Absolutely. Yep. With lion's mane, there's no worries there with that at all.
Do you worry about these kinds of things, like only take in the morning, because would it help stop you from sleeping, or no?
No.
Okay. Is there anything
so it doesn't
on
have
here
like
that
a
you
stimulant.
can't take in the at night?
No.
No.
Everything's good there.
So even though they help with energy, focus, all that, it's not going to keep you up at night.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of sleeping, a lot of controversy, you know, should we not, melatonin all over the internet. I feel like I can't go to sleep without a little bit of melatonin, and I have it in that blend of other things, magnesium, whatever. But is it okay for people to be taking melatonin on a regular basis, especially if they need it?
Yeah, there's a lot of good long-term studies on melatonin being very safe. There's only, you know, some really rare instances where we would say like, oh, maybe not melatonin for you, but as a general rule, we don't worry about melatonin for any like long-term problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
So college students especially, I mean, college kids are usually pretty good sleepers.
Yeah.
But if maybe they had too many all-nighters in a row, or they just got too stressed and they can't sleep.
Yeah, because a lot of times they're trying to, like, they're on this erratic sleep schedule. So then they might have a really early class and they're like, oh, or something going on, and they need to like get to bed a little bit earlier, or they have, you know, a test the next morning. And then other nights they're up till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's where you can create these like imbalances where maybe taking a formula that has some melatonin in it or taking the magnesium, it's not that they need it every night, but some of these nights where they need to get to bed a little bit earlier and their kind of clock is a little bit disrupted, that's a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially the food is all different for them. So trying to encourage, of course, they're going to have junk food.
Yeah.
If they go out to a party, they're probably going to drink some alcohol, all those things.
Yeah.
So just counteracting it with the sleep and drinking water, like basics, but they can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And like when they can get good quality food, to really be looking at their food choices and making sure they're getting like vegetables and like fruit, like actual real food when it's available to them. So most of these kids are initially eating in dining halls, and yeah, you can go in a dining hall and not eat so well, but you can also go in a dining hall and get like a really great meal.
They have beautiful food now.
Yeah.
Much better than what we
So there's
had.
not really a good like excuse to not be eating well when you have access to dining halls.
Okay, in our final minute together, I'm just going to give a review in case you're taking notes. Okay, so if there's 3 things that Dr. Stagg is packing in the bag for you, she wants you to have magnesium, she wants you to have a probiotic, and she wants you to have the fish oil.
Yeah,
And then
that's
if you
it.
add on one other thing, make sure they're taking vitamin D. You can even start that now. I'll put a link on my Facebook page as well if you want to look for some of these brands. But these are really helpful things because we don't have to let them just get sick. And we can often make sure it doesn't exacerbate into something like walking mono or something.
Yeah.
Dr. Stagg, thank you. You can find Dr. Stagg at Dr. Stagg. Yes. All right. On all of it, social media. And also check out Whole Health Wellness in Farmington, Connecticut. She also treats people virtually if you don't happen to be close by. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great day and be well.
CURES is sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.